Suck, though. The love of my life is asleep right now, so I gotta be quiet. But you got your snacks, your cuddle buddy, and your Adidas. No popcorn, but I got the
It was about 4 in the morning one Saturday, and I was driving to work down the interstate. I was in the middle lane moving pretty quickly because I was already running a bit late to work that morning.
Right.
So when I noticed a car in my left mirror catching me pretty quickly, I was almost alarmed. I had to already be going like 75 to 80, so he had to be going anywhere from 90 to 100. The car quickly caught up to me. It was a gray Honda Accord coupe. I took a look into the car, curious to see who was behind the wheel. Even though it was still dark out, I could see the driver looking back at me as he passed. Then I noticed someone in the back seat too. It was a young woman who appeared to be banging on the back window. Initially I didn't understand. I assumed it was a girl messing with me or whatever. It's usually not a person's first instinct to assume something sinister is going on. But
yes, it's my first instinct. For real, dead ass. Somebody waving at me, you clucked. Somebody says hi to me, you clucked. Somebody look at me, you clucked. If somebody even looks in my direction, it's sinister. I gotta cluck you up on sight.
I saw the driver apparently push her down under the window, and the car swerve at the same time. Then I knew something was wrong.
Call the cops.
That woman was trying to get someone's attention and call for help. I started to speed up a little bit and got behind them so I could keep up.
At least
I could see the driver continuously reach into the back of the car with a swinging motion. He looked to be hitting.
At least get the plates. Get the plates, call the cops, and go about your business.
I could see her arms flailing in the back of the car. I was in complete shock. I was actually witnessing a kidnapping right in front of me.
Wow.
As I was behind them, matching their speed of about 95 miles per hour, I took out my phone and called 911. As I was on the phone, the car in front of me's brake lights lit up, and he started to slow down to a gradual stop. He definitely noticed that I saw what was going on and thought that I was following him. As much as I wanted to save that woman's life, I didn't know if the driver was armed with a gun or not, so I pulled around him and floored it. I wanted to keep behind them though, so I pulled off the next exit, but didn't go entirely up the exit ramp. I waited for the car to pass by down the highway. Then I drove over the grass and back onto the highway and began to floor it to catch up to the car, all while still talking to 911, telling them where we were, what kind of car they were in, and how fast we were going. I was easily going 90 again to catch up to them. As I caught up to the car again, going at insane speed, he noticed me again even before I got too close. He started to brake in front of me again. I tried to go around him, but he cut me off. I had to stop. He got out from his car and started running towards my car with something.
Then you run his ass over. Point blank, period. You run his ass over and say it was an accident. Just saying, you know? That's what I don't get. Somebody gets out of a car and you already in a car. So they walk in a hall and ask to you, but you're in a car. Just run that person over or like, Misty, you done? Or are you finished? She's literally scratching at the window. That's what that noise is. I don't know why she does that. Yeah, just say it was an accident. God damn. Jesus.
In his hand, and in a panic, I threw the car in reverse until he stopped chasing me. Then I put it back in drive before he could get back in his car, and I drove quickly past him. The 911 operator told me there was a state trooper not far ahead from our location, and to just keep driving until I passed him. The man in the car behind me continued to follow me, both of us still going at an insane 90 miles per hour plus. I felt the weight of 1,000,000 pounds released off my shoulders when the flashing blue and red lights appeared in my rearview mirror behind the car chasing me. With me in front of him and the cop behind him, he didn't have much maneuverability, and he quickly pulled over onto the grass. I pulled over in front of him, but with at least 2 cars worth of space between us, because I still didn't know how this was about to go down. Luckily, the cop with his gun drawn got the guy out of the car with his hands up. By then, I got out and watched the whole thing. He was on the ground in cuffs now, laying on his stomach. Another police car showed up and another cop entered the scene. The woman in the back of the car was let out. She was badly beaten, in tears, and extremely ecstatic to be saved, and she kept praising me for saving her life. The driver of the car was her ex-boyfriend, who had come to her house, and when she refused to talk to him, he attacked her, grabbed her, and threw her in the back of his car, which had the child locks on. It's scary to think where he might have been taking her, or what he was planning to do to her, if I or anybody else didn't witness her screaming for help in the back of the car.
Thank God, she's okay, but Jesus.
I made a trip to visit Boston to support a family member who was running the Boston Marathon. I was driving from Chicago to Massachusetts and had to take Route 20, possibly the longest highway in the United States. I don't much like flying, so I decided to start driving around 3 p.m. after work. My GPS was telling me it would be a 15-hour drive, so knowing how I drove, it would probably be 14 hours. My ETA was telling me 6 a.m. I was expecting 5 a.m. if I didn't stop. I'm the type who doesn't like to make many stops on long car rides. I like to just bang out the whole ride in one go. Most of Route 20 is open land, and there isn't a whole lot of traffic in a lot of it. I'd say 10 hours in, around 1 a.m., I was basically one of the only cars on the highway. I had music blasting to keep me awake. I was comparatively almost done. Not really, but I was optimistic. I was starting to get slightly tired though, even after the 2 cups of coffee I drank. I didn't want to pull off for more coffee though, so I tanked through it. It would make finally collapsing into a bed when I'd get there all the more rewarding. One moment I was the only car in sight, then next thing I knew, there were headlights in my rearview mirror. I was in the left lane and he was kind of on my ass, so I switched to the right lane. He sped up a bit, passed by me, then for some reason slowed to match my speed just as my front bumper aligned with his rear bumper. Then he just matched my speed for the longest time. I started to speed up to pass him. As soon as I got in front of him, he turned into my lane behind me, so close it almost looked like he was going to clip my car. I had no choice but to speed up even more to get him off my ass. I wasn't looking to be the victim of a road rage incident, not at this hour especially. As I sped up, so did he. I switched into the left lane, and so did he. Now I knew something was wrong. It couldn't be an unmarked cop. It was some old ratty pickup truck. The truck started to flash its lights behind me. I didn't slow down. I was honestly afraid, because I had never experienced anything on the road like this. I kept driving, stepping on the gas just a bit to increase my speed 5 to 10 miles per hour, hoping to pass a cop or any other cars for that matter. But I couldn't see another set of taillights as far as the eye could see. Just a very seldom car zooming past on the other side of the highway. The pickup truck behind me that...
See, if you was to have an Adidas car, it would have noticed the club car behind you. Right. Stay with me. And just like off that Inspector Gadget movie, the Inspector Gadget car, something would have came out of my car and kind of just flicked, gave a little nudge to the car that was harassing you. Just kind of like just flicked them off. Nothing too major. Made sure he did like at least, don't kill him, don't, hurt him or anything. Just flick him off, make him flip the car like 20 times off a cliff. Land on some spiky ass rocks. Nothing too major though.
Switched lanes and floored it. I heard the aggressive roar of his truck's engine passing me. He cut in front of me, then he started to brake. I tried to swerve around him, but he kept blocking me. I was forced to stomp on the brakes too. I started to honk because it's all I could do. As we slowed, the man in front of me put on his hazards and started waving his arm out the window, signaling for me to pull to the side of the road. I obviously didn't listen. I took the chance to quickly pull around him as he started pulling onto the grass, and then I floored it. My sedan could easily escape his pickup truck, but I hit 100 and he was still not far behind me. I got off the highway at the first exit. I stopped at the red light at the end of the exit ramp, not expecting him to still be behind me, but they were. The pickup truck's headlights pulled up behind me. Then the truck pulled up to the red light next to me. I looked to my left at the truck, and the window rolled down. Inside were 3 people, I'd assume men, wearing vendetta masks. They all looked at me, trying to scare me, I'm sure. But it worked. I blew the red light onto the main road, and finally there were at least other cars around. The pickup truck finally stopped following me. At a certain point, I was scared I was going to be killed. It was more than just a road rage incident. I didn't get the plate number. In fact, I don't even remember seeing a plate on that truck. All I know is it was some 90s black pickup truck. After that, I parked in a Walmart parking lot and fell asleep. I woke up around 8 and finished the drive. I told my family about the incident, and I warn everybody to be careful when driving late at night.
Yeah. Stay alert, my niggas.
It was a Tuesday night in March. I was driving back from a friend's house in the city, a trek that would take me about an hour in decent weather, but a deep fog had set in on the long, lonely highway.
Jesus.
After midnight, this particular stretch of road was often abandoned, save for the odd semi, their plates showing unfamiliar lettering and colors from places I'd never been to. It was 1 a.m. It had been a long day, wandering around for hours with my friend, shopping, checking out new cafes. It had left me tired. My eyelids were heavy, and the impenetrable fog made the highway an unending, drifting mess of hypnotizing gray. I drove cautiously, at times slowing my speed to a steady crawl and flashing my hazard lights to let anyone behind me know I was there. Suddenly, a vehicle appeared, its wheels half on the highway and half on the shoulder. I slammed on my brakes and pulled over behind it, narrowly passing by the bumper. My heart was beating heavily after the near miss, so I put my car into park to catch my breath behind the black sedan. I watched as the car began slowly rolling forward off the road, so it was fully parked on the shoulder. The car sat for a moment, then the driver's side window rolled down. An arm appeared and did a waving motion to pull over. At this point, the adrenaline from the sudden stop was still pumping through my body, and it made sense to move further off the road. I followed the car as it took a slight turn onto a side road. It came to a stop and the driver's side door opened. The driver walked towards me through the fog, a tall, lean guy wearing a black winter jacket and jeans. He looked younger, 30-ish, and he was smiling as he approached my car, illuminated by my headlights. I rolled down my window a crack, thinking maybe he was coming up to apologize for his unsafe parking. He got to my window and then motioned for me to roll it down further. I shook my head no, feeling uneasy, and told him I would be able to hear him. He asked where I was heading, and I said home. He said the fog wasn't supposed to let up anytime soon, and that it wasn't safe to drive in. I let him know I was okay with it. He raised his eyebrows and asked why I pulled over then. I didn't want to start anything with this man, so I lied and said I had gotten a phone call and needed to pull over to answer it. He smirked, and it felt like he could tell I was lying. He said he lived with his wife and son just down the road, about 5 minutes, if I wanted to wait it out. I shook my head again, but he wasn't taking no for an answer. He tried to scare me, saying how it's 10 times more likely for me to die in a car crash when it's foggy, and that I looked tired and I should really think of my family before getting back on the road.
Okay.
I held my ground. He was getting angry. He began looking back at his car, and I saw someone move in the passenger seat I hadn't seen before.
Oh my God.
Suddenly the man was grabbing at my door handle, trying to open it. Thankfully it was locked. The passenger door to the car opened, and another man came running towards me with a baseball bat.
Oh my God.
I put my car in reverse, and the driver yelled something at him as I hit the gas. He took a swing at my car but missed. Luckily, I hadn't pulled too far off the highway, but it was hard to tell where this road ended and the highway began as I backed up in the heavy fog. I turned my wheels and put my car into drive, praying there was no traffic coming up behind me. I floored it as I haphazardly merged onto the highway, not looking back. I often wonder when I'm driving that stretch of road if they tried to stop anyone else that night, and what would have happened to me had I rolled my window down further.
He would have clucked your ass up, no condom necessary.
Scary things can happen on the road at night. Nighttime is when the creeps and weirdos come out, so you have to be extra careful. This was in 2020, right around when COVID started. I would often work overnight shifts at a hospital. My hours would be all over the place. I would always take the same route home, a parkway that I take 10 miles north to my town. It's never a busy parkway, even during the daytime, So at night, I'm almost always completely alone on the road, and COVID just made it even more of a ghost town. I never even see any state police at night either. Usually this is convenient for me as I get home quicker without any slow drivers around me. It was one night I was driving home in the middle of the night, or rather early hours of the morning. I see a red flashing SOS light stand perched up on the side of the road. As it's shown, it would light up the taillights of the car parked on the side of the road. Clearly someone was in need of assistance, and I was, I guess, in a good mood that night, so I pulled over in front of the car. As I passed the car, I saw a man waving his arms in the air. I put my hazards on and stepped out of my car to approach the man. Based on his skin tone and slight accent, he was a Hispanic man. Due to the COVID mask he was wearing, though, I couldn't gauge how old he was, but if I had to guess, I'd say late 20s, early 30s. I asked him what the problem was. He said his battery died after he stayed pulled over for too long. I asked him if he had jumper cables, because I did not. He said no. I didn't really know how else I could be of assistance other than offering him a ride. But then he asked if he could borrow my cell phone. He said his phone died too.
God, come.
I wasn't eager to hand this stranger on the side of the road my phone, but I did. I unlocked it for him and opened the phone app. He proceeded to call someone, then slowly walked away as he started to talk into the phone.
In my ass. As you slowly walk away, I'm slowly walking with you. Strapped up. Time out.
His car door was open though, so I kind of decided to just take it upon myself to sit in the front seat and try turning the car on myself. And sure enough, the keys were in the ignition still. I turned the key one click to the right, and to my surprise, the battery turned on. I tried turning the hazards on. They worked. I turned the radio on, and it worked. So I then turned the key once more to the right to start the car now, and it started on the first try. I didn't have enough time to think about how I might have just walked into a trap, because as soon as the car turned on, I felt two arms wrap around my throat trying to choke me.
Oh my God.
I heard a voice yelling from outside, "Hey, hey," over and over. It was the guy with my phone. I broke out of the person in the back seat's grip pretty easily. I looked at him, and it was a young teenage kid in the back seat. The man with my phone was running back towards his car, screaming at me. I picked flight over fight and ran back to my car and got out of there as soon as the car was on. And I swear to God, I heard a loud pop from outside that I found out moments later was a gunshot. My rear windshield had a hole in it, along with multiple cracks surrounding the hole. I couldn't call police until I got home since that guy still had my phone. I got home and told my parents, then went ahead and called 911 using the house phone. I explained to the police that I was led into a trap, that someone was hiding in the back seat, and that the man who shot at my car still had my phone, which was still unlocked with all my personal information on it. The police recommended I call AT&T immediately and asked them to track the last call that was made within the hour. But AT&T customer service didn't open until 7 a.m., so I had to wait. With the cops still there though, I used Find My iPhone on my dad's phone to lock my phone, which I hoped was before they could have found our home address on there. Come 7 a.m., I called AT&T to ask if they could track the last call made, but there were no calls logged since my phone call with my mom earlier the previous day at work. That meant the man never actually made a phone call to anyone, and I found out some more horrible news. All the Bitcoin I was holding in my Coinbase account was gone, many thousands of dollars worth of it, sent to some random Bitcoin wallet address, completely untrackable. The phone's location stopped updating once the thief either disposed of or turned off the phone. I never got it back. A week after this incident, I woke up to my mom's concerned voice. My dad knocked on my door and told me to come downstairs and outside. I was scared, but I followed him. He said he and my mom heard someone in our backyard, but when we checked, we didn't see anyone there. My mom wanted to call the cops, but my dad said we'd hold off until we heard another noise, which we never did. I don't know if what they heard was a person, but if it was, I really hope it wasn't that man who had my phone. My address was saved everywhere on that phone.
Oh my God.
Regardless, it's been 2 years now, so it's obviously over. Still, I will never stop to help somebody on a highway at night ever again.
It's not over. I bet you that Hispanic is probably plotting, scheming. You know? People plot and scheme for years. Come on, bro. For years. He knows where you live, so I would just stay on high alert. You know, not that long, you know, just for the rest of my life, you know, even after I die, still on high alert. Um, yeah, I'm not really helping nobody. I cannot. Like, there's been so many times where I thought about it, like driving, and I see somebody on the road, and I'm like, maybe I should. No, I'm not. I can't take that chance. I cannot, especially at night. You know, God doesn't put you in situations where you cannot handle it. So every situation that we're in, we're going to get out of it sooner or later. But I'm just saying, like, they good. God watching over them. So got all of that. Jesus, man. I don't know if any of you all be helping out people, but no. I want to, but then right when I want to, my conscience be like, don't do it. Please don't do it. You got your life, man, please. This is my life too. But some of these stories was like, it started off clucked. And it's just crazy how some people just don't see it. But it is what it is, to each his own. But I will probably never, ever help anybody on the side of the road unless I know them. But even then, I'm still thinking, I'm still second guessing myself. Keep it cool, keep it classy. And I love you, stay happy, my family.